the Parashat Toldot, talking about the history and the life of Yitzchak, our father Yitzchak. I would say translation of Toldot we can translate in two ways. First of all, the history. The history, Ele Toldot Yitzchak. This is the history of Yitzchak. And another translation that it's more used today in the Hebrew language, it's Toldot is children. Children is Toldot. Our sages, there is expression, Toldotehem shel tzadikim ma'asim tovim. The children of righteous are good deeds. So Toldot can be children, can be the action, the what they're doing, it's good deeds, or children, or stories. So this is Toldot. So basically our parasha telling the story and the history of the son of Avraham, the heir of Avraham, Yitzchak. And I want to say a few ideas about Rashi. You know, Rashi is until this day is the main explainer, commentary on the Torah. He wrote commentary on all the Torah, all the Bible, and all the Talmud. And he let's say, founded the way of explanation that you explain literally what the Torah means. He was the founder of this way of explanation, and he was living between 900 and 1,000 years ago in the area of Worms, that this is Germany, France, and his commentary on the Torah is the basic commentary that you have in any Chumash. You have the commentary of Rashi, and he based on the traditional explanations, of course, traditional rules, how to explain the Torah. And after him, we had a lot of explainers that explaining the Torah in his way, but differently. But he was very special. And the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, dedicated many hours of learning and teaching to explain the commentary of Rashi. It means why Rashi said what he said, the way of learning, the way of the rules of Rashi. The Rebbe learned from the commentary of Rashi many rules how to learn Torah and how Rashi looked on the stories. It's very amazing and long subject, the relationship between the Rebbe and Rashi. The Rebbe learned Rashi very carefully. And maybe we will be able to taste a little bit. I will try, because it's a little bit, we will see how we will do it. But first of all, to the story of the Torah. The Torah start, those are the Toldot, the history and the children of Yitzchak. And then the Torah start telling us the story that Yitzchak and Rivka didn't have children 20 years after they get married. So we're talking about, he was 40, she was 3 when they got married. 10 years they didn't complain, because they waited until she will be 13. But when the age of 23 came, we married for 20 years. You're already 23. Yes? So then the Torah starts telling the story that Yitzchak is praying in one side and Rivka is praying in the other side. They standing and praying and asking from God that they will have children. And she become pregnant. And when she is pregnant, she have difficult pregnancy. How you say it?
Pregnancy.
Yes. We don't know what she had. It was difficult for her, And Rashi saying explanation. What was so difficult? The Torah not explained. Rashi explained that when she was passing by yeshiva, a place of learning Torah, she felt how the baby feeling the baby want to go out to the yeshiva. And when she passing in a place the opposite of yeshiva, it could be a place of worshiping other gods, or place of doing bad things, other bad stuff. She feel the baby want to go in now also again. So she said to herself, what's going on? It's not, something here is not right. I feeling two desires. So she came to the Rabbi in that time. Who was the Rabbi? So first of all, Avraham Avinu was alive. Her father-in-law. But he didn't go to him. She going not to her husband, not to her father-in-law. She was going to the head of the yeshiva. Who was the head of the yeshiva? Shem, the son of Noah. Shem. And Shem telling her, you're not crazy and your baby is not crazy. You're having a twins. You're having a twins. And that was true. She had the twins. And the first one want to go out. And the other one taking his foot. But he managed to go out first. So he was the first one. The first one was fully he was born like a grown-up. With hair in his body like a grown-up. And even the Torah said that he was red. And the regular explanation is that he was redhead. But I read once explanation that it means that he had a red face. That he was full grown and full alive. With a lot of livelihood inside him. So his name is Esav. Esav is from the se'arot. Se'ar, it's air. From the air. And the other one, because he held the foot of his brother, his name is Yaakov, because of the akev. How you say akev in English? You know? Akev. It's do? No.
Not sure what to mean actually. Jacob. We say Jacob.
No, Jacob. This is the name, of course. Yeah. 1 second. Actually, I don't know how to say akev. It's the part of the foot that this is behind the. It's here on the foot. This is akev. You understand? The foot is like that, so this is the akev. You see me? I don't know.
Well, but more or less, okay, yeah.
So this is akev because Yaakov held this part of his brother. His name is Yaakov.
Oh, it's in Hebrew coming from the Old
Of course, it's clearly it's clear in the Torah.
Jacob, yeah, okay, interesting. We use Jacob, which is already.
Jacob, it's the English way of saying Yaakov. That Yaakov, it's
Yeah.
yes, it's because of the name. Okay. Now, after we understood that, the Torah said that they were growing up, and Yitzchak, it's very interesting. Yitzchak is the father, and he become blind. Why? So there is few reasons, but the Torah said because he was old. He was old. He become blind. He didn't so well. And his two kids growing up. And Esav was a man of the field. Yaakov was a man of the tent. He is going outside. Yaakov is inside. And one day, it was the birthday of Yitzchak, of Yaakov and Esav. We're learning about 2 birthdays and 1 holiday and 1 yortzeit in our parasha. So we're starting with the birthday of Yaakov and Esav. It was in the Shiva of Avraham. So Esav coming back from the field, and he was very, very tired. So our sages told us that it was after a war. He had a war with one of the great kings in his time, Nimrod. Nimrod was the king that tried to kill his grandfather, Avraham. So Esav coming very tired from the field, and he telling Yaakov, I'm going to die, I need to eat something. And Yaakov ate food, some soup.
Lentil soup, yeah.
Yes.
They are, yeah, okay.
Why he ate those? Because this is a food until this day in the Jewish custom, it's a food for mourning people. That they mourning for a death of someone. The customary is to eat round food. So this is what he ate. It was in the Shiva of Avraham. So Esav said, please give me this. Yaakov told him, I will give you, I have no problem. But Yaakov was a Jew. So I need something in return. I will take your birthright of being the firstborn. And he sold it to Yaakov. So Yaakov became with the rights of the firstborn. How he got the rights? He bought it. How he bought it? Esav had no choice, yes? Basically. So, after that, Yitzchak was getting old, and Yitzchak loves his son Esav. The Torah said why? Because Kitzaid befiv. He using his mouth to always to speak in good way near his father. Always like he learning so much, and is very, very righteous and very strong in Torah. So Yitzchak loved Esav, and Rivka loved Yaakov, because she saw what's going on. She saw that Yaakov, he is a person, he's a Jew. He's a good Jew. And then Yitzchak celebrating his birthday. His birthday of 100 and what? 22. 22. His birthday. And he told his son Esav I want you, please, to go to the field. I know that you're a man of the field. Please give me 2 goats. So Rashi immediately saying, who eats 2 goats? It's a little bit big meal. So Rashi explained, it was Yitzchak's birthday. It's the night of the Seder. It's Pesach night. In the time of the temple, in Pesach night, every Jew was joining in bringing 2 sacrifices. One, the Pesach sacrifice, and one, the Chagiga sacrifice. 2 kinds of sacrifice that every Jew needed to bring to the Beit HaMikdash, to the temple. So Yitzchak was celebrating Passover, as the Torah said that in the continuance of the story, he was drinking a lot of wine. Why? Because we know in Pesach we're drinking 4 cups of wine. So Rivka, hearing this situation, and she calling her son Yaakov, telling her son, please take 2 goats from the outside, put Esav clothes on you, I will cook it, bring it to your father instead of your brother. And that's what he's doing. And Yitzchak asking, who is it? Yaakov said, I am Esav. And Yitzchak giving the blessing to his younger son, the one with the firstborn right, Yaakov. And after that, Esav's coming in and he asking what's going on. You ate already. He said, your brother stole your blessings. And even he asking his father, okay, I will give you more food and you bless me again. So Yitzchak said, you know, I cannot eat because after Afikoman, we don't eat. This is one of the laws of the Seder night, that after the Afikoman, we don't eat. So I finished. The blessing that Yitzchak, by the way, gave Yaakov is the most amazing blessing in the Torah. More of the blessing that God gave Avraham, more the blessing that God gave Yitzchak, of Yaakov to his children, Moshe to the Jewish people. The most strong blessings is the blessings that Yitzchak gave Yaakov. And Esav hating Yaakov. He said his name is Yaakov because he ikvani. Ikvani means he delayed me, delay. From 2 things, from the birthright and from the blessings. Twice. So Rivka calling Yaakov, telling Yaakov, run away to your uncle in Haran. And Yitzchak calling Yaakov and blessing him in his way to Haran. This is the life of the 2 sons of Yitzchak. There is also things that happen with Yitzchak himself in our Parasha. Yitzchak had the same story as his father. He came to the city of, first of all, there was nothing to eat in Israel. And Avraham told Yitzchak, God told Yitzchak, do not leave Israel, stay in Israel. Do not go to Egypt like your father. So he stayed. He went to the city of Gerar like his father. And he had the same story. He was afraid that they will kill him in order to take his wife. So he said, it's not my wife, it's my sister. And then the king realized that she is his wife. And then he gave him a lot of gifts. The same story that happened with Avraham. And he became very rich from that. And another story that happened, that we learned about Yitzchak, that he was, digging well wells in the ground. Digging wells in the ground. Very much, and he become very rich. He found living water in the ground. And from this point, I want to explore a little bit about Yitzchak himself and about Rashi. There is many Rashis in our Parashat that the Rabbi explained. We will see. So first of all, what are we know about Yitzchak himself? We know that Avraham was a person of love. A person of love. He was giving and everyone, and God called Avraham Ohavi. Avraham, the person that loves me. Because the way of life of Avraham, what was his way of life? What was his way of experiencing God? Of talking to people? Of spreading the word of God? His way was way of love. And from Avraham, every Jew inherit this feeling inside him, that every person, every Jew have the feeling that he can reveal, of course. The feeling of connection with God through love, by love. Every Jew have inside him love to God. And not only to God, love to everyone, to every person, to every creation. This is one. This is Avraham. Yitzchak, what we know about Yitzchak, we don't know much about Yitzchak. But Yitzchak, we know two things. First of all, Yaakov calling Yitzchak, when he's talking about his father, he's saying, Pachad Yitzchak. You know what is Pachad Yitzchak? Pachad means afraid. My father, his way of worshiping God was by fear. It doesn't mean fear, and we will talk a little bit today or tonight. I mean, or not all the time, but a little bit in Kabbalah words. You know that every soul, in the Jewish soul, and also this is the way of God representing himself in 10 sfirot. You heard about it? 10 sfirot. The sfirot are divided to 3 ways of understanding and 7 ways of feeling. The ways of feeling are divided in general to 2 ways. To feel God. Our soul, each and every one in the Jewish nation, in the Jewish soul, the godly spark that there is inside every Jew, divided to 2 ways of feeling in general. Way of love and way of fear. To love and to fear doesn't necessarily means love and fear. It means, we can call it not positive and negative. We can call it closeness and respect. You know, there is relationship between 2 people. It's not enough to love. You know, you need first of all to respect the person. There is a other one that he have his life, his thoughts, his feelings, his way of life, his way of looking on things. Yes? And this other one, the other one, not me, he's not like me. He have his own life, his own uniqueness, and this I respect, and after the respect, I love it. So it's two things. The love is the connection, and the respect is to giving him his life. You something for yourself. So this is basically the difference between the two lines of feeling that every Jew have in his soul. And basically this is in life. We're feeling close to something, and we also seeing it as it is. This is love and fear. Love is the connection. Fear, I fear it because it's something else. It's not me. I'm giving it his place. Yitzchak was a person exactly the opposite of Avraham. Avraham was giving and inherit every Jew the way of worshiping God by love, by emotion of connection, of desire to feel connected to God, and love to people. This is the way of Abraham's life. And this is what he gave every Jew, his grandsons and granddaughters. Yitzchak was the opposite. Yitzchak, his way of worshiping God was by the respect of God. He really, really admired how God is the king and how he's so great and so big and so amazing, and he's the creator. It's not the same thing. And one of the differences, if we will talk a little bit more Kabbalah, when the Kabbalah talking about chesed, about Avraham, about love, is connected to water. And fear is connected to fire. Water is connecting things. If you put two, you cannot separate the water. It's either one, or if it's touching something, it's becoming one with it. Yes? This is water. Fire, exactly the opposite. It's dividing things. You know, you're taking the fire and you're putting tree in the fire, and then the one part of the tree is going away and the other parts of the tree is staying here. It's making it smaller and smaller and dividing all the parts of the tree. It's about giving the other one respect. I'm not connected. It's connecting by other emotions. The emotion of Yitzchak is emotion of respect, of fear. So, this is two ways of worshiping God. So now I have a question. How come Yitzchak is the son of Avraham? How come from Avraham Avinu, the peak person of love, coming exactly the opposite? Someone have any idea? Lina?
Well, maybe it's more from his mother,
Mm-hmm.
Sarah. Coming from Sarah because
It's true. It's good answer. So, okay, it's good answer, but I have a question. Who is the continuer of the work of Avraham? Is Yitzchak. Maybe it's true that he have his mother's sides also, but he's the person that he's the son of Avraham, Yitzchak. Ki b'Yitzchak yikare lecha zara. He is your son. I will tell you more than that. Ishmael, the other son of Avraham, was also a person of love, like his father. So, this is one thing. So, in our parasha, the parasha starts, Ele Toldot Yitzchak ben Avraham. This is the history of Yitzchak, the son of Avraham. And then the Torah repeats herself. Avraham holid et Yitzchak. Avraham is the father of Yitzchak. Rashi asking a question. Why the Torah repeating itself? This, of course, Avraham holid et Yitzchak. Avraham is the father of Yitzchak. What is the question? Why the Torah need to repeat itself? So Rashi explained. Because people said Avraham is not the father. Sarah lived with Avraham for so many years. And then she came to city of Gerar, Avimelech taking her to one night, and suddenly Yitzchak was born. So the Torah said, what God did. Rashi continue. What God did. God did Yitzchak exactly look the same like Avraham. So people said that, but after a few days he grew up and he looked the same. So, okay, what can we do? This is what Rashi said. And the Rabbi explained, of course, by questions. First of all, why we need to set explanations about some guys that say nonsense. They said Avraham is not the father. Who cares? So they said. So the Torah need to repeat itself. And not only that, Rashi said what God did. So what's so difficult? I mean, God have so many ways. Rashi was in a saying that God was in a problem. Very, very, very strange. I mean, it's very easy that son look like his father. It's not something that God need to do something new. Son look like his parents. Not maybe exactly the same, but of course have similarity. So why God need to do something? So this is the question on Rashi that explained the Torah. And now to the explanation. And through that we'll understand deeply the situation with Avraham, with the people, what they said and everything. Avraham has son. Only child that God promised him and everything. And his son is exactly the opposite of Avraham. Everybody, it's unbelievable. Avraham is the peak of the right of love, of giving, of spreading, was a people person, I imagine. Talked with the people, so love everybody coming inside his house and everything. And he have a son. And after a few years, we see that this son is exactly the opposite. So people said, he is not his son. Avraham is a person of love. He is not the continue of Avraham. He is not continuing Avraham. So God it was difficult to God. Why? So there is few things that our sages telling us that God doing it, but it's a little bit difficult. There is things that it's difficult to God. What is difficult? For example, our sages said that to split the sea, when the Jewish people crossed the sea after going from Egypt out, it was difficult to God. What difficult? I mean, if you can do miracles, so why do we care what kind of miracle God doing? He can do any miracle. So what is difficult? So the Rabbi explained, and it's not the Rabbi explanation, it's explanation of Kabbalah, that when the Jewish people were in the water in Yam Suf, in the Red Sea, so the angels came to God and asked God, something here is not right. Because they are almost the same people, the Jewish and the Egyptian. The Jews, after they left Egypt, they were in a very bad situation in righteousness. They were really close to the Egyptian. So the angels came to God and said, it's not right. They're all staying alive and they all died. And God needed to do only one thing, only what he decided to do, and to not listen to the other side, the side that's saying that they are similar. And this is very important. In our creation, everything is about balance. Everything is about balance. God built this world, as we said. There is two lines. There is the chesed and the gvura, closeness and respect. It's not one. You cannot have one side. Like a person cannot love everyone and everything. You know, if you get married, you love one, and the others you love, but not in the same way. You have respect. Okay? You working in one field, you cannot say, I want to be everything, because it will not work. Because if you want to succeed in one thing, you can say to the other things, not now, I'm focusing in one thing. So everything is about balance. And God, this is the way that He created the world. And in the splitting the sea, the great miracle was that He said to the side that speaking negatively about the situation, He said, I'm not listening at all. It's only one line now. Why? Because God promised to Avrahams that He will take his children from outside Egypt. But this was not in the way of creation. The system of creation is all about balance. So this is difficult. God, of course, can do whatever He wants. But this is opposite creation. Opposite the balance of how the world is working. So, the Rabbi said this was the situation when Yitzchak and Avraham were totally different. If they're totally different, they don't need to look the same. A person of love, you know, is calm, he's nice, his look. And the person that is like more negative, more harsh, more strict, have his way, how he looks like. And that's why when God wanted to prove that Yitzchak is continuing his father's way in a different way, but he is exactly continuing what Avraham did. Avraham was not a person of love. Avraham, first of all, was the messenger of God, spreading the word of God in his way of spreading the word of God, of teaching everyone, of being the messenger of God. His way was way of love. Yitzchak is continuing his father's way. In the way of fear, of respect. So God did Yitzchak look like Avraham, but it was difficult because naturally they needed to look different. Only to prove he did that. Okay? The explanation is good. You understand? But from here I want to learn something about Judaism and about really continuing things. Because Yaakov also continued Avraham and Yitzchak, and he also was different from Avraham and from Yitzchak. His way was different also. And every generation is different. And people can think, so if it's different, or it's not the same thing, or we can all do whatever we want and call ourselves the same. Yes? If the Jewish people today not look like Jewish people 300 years ago, so, or we can call ourselves Jewish people and do whatever we want, or it's not the same. The Jewish people stopped and now you other people. And it's not true. It depends what we changing. Yitzchak, his life's mission was his father's work, and he continued it. And how's the one thing that the Torah describes about Yitzchak is how he digging again his father's well. Why? Because the well represents the work in the earth of spreading life's God's word and to find water, to find living things in the earth. And this was the same work, but he did it in his way. So this is that the Jewish people today alive, the whole reason that the Jewish people are alive is they understood that we need to do the same work, but the way of doing it can adapt to the situation. But we need to stay focused that we are different in the maybe outside, in the way that we're doing it, but inside we are the same. And the Rabbi also pointing out that Yitzchak looked like Avraham. It means that he had also the kindness. Not Avraham looked like Yitzchak. Avraham was all chesed. Yitzchak was all gvura, all respect. But he looked like a chesed. He looked very like his father. The idea that we need to change, to adapt, but stay exactly the same, it's really, really important in the Jewish life, and it's a very long subject. And about practical life, that today a lot of things that we don't do in Shabbat, for example, we're not lighting, we're not using electric, and we're not going by car, and we're not I don't know, but from the other hand, we're using the plata for the cholent, or so what does that mean? It means that we have the rules, what is true and what is not, and we adapting it to the new world. It means that we cannot say, oh, because now everything is so easy, so we cannot do Shabbat. You know, to work in IT, it's so easy. You're sitting at home and doing. So the Torah said not to work when it was. No, there is the rules, and you're adapting the rules to the situation. It's very long and very interesting subject, and it's connected to the way of tradition. What does that mean? What is the power of the rabbis in every generation, the big rabbis? And what is the power of tradition and oral Torah? And I hope in some day we will talk about it. This is one idea in Rashi. There is, it's 5 to, okay. There is, I want to mention about the birthday of Yitzchak. The birthday of Yitzchak was Leil HaSeder, Seder night, Pesach. And in Pesach, there is tradition in a lot of homes, not in our community, not in Chabad, but in a lot of homes, to steal the afikoman. You heard about it once? There is part of the matzah that we're eating only in the end of the night, and there is tradition that the kids stealing, and then they coming to their fathers and telling them, if you want it back, please give me a present. And this is the tradition. What is the reason for the tradition? Because in Pesach we're doing a lot of customs to that the kids will stay awake in the night. It's a long night and we want them to learn. It's an important night. It's the night that it's connected to what I just said. Pesach, I heard from, I'm mentioning it because it's from Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs that passed away, I think last week. Yes. I heard that he said once that there is a difference between England and America. That he just once he noticed. He said, you're going into a monument in Washington. You're going to the George Washington Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln monument, the big one that is sitting in the chair. In one wall, you will read how you call it, his famous speech. Whatever, you're reading speech. He said, in America, you're reading monuments.
Declaration.
There is the Declaration, and there is another one that he said, Gettysburg, not Gettysburg. How is after he won, after the war, whatever he said one the few famous speeches that he said. And you're going to Martin Luther King, you're reading famous quotes. You're going to Washington monument, you're reading. You're going to England, you're going to Churchill monument. There is one word, Churchill. You're going to another one, there is only the name. He said, what is the difference? The difference is the English people don't need to explain to themselves what makes them special, what makes them British. We are a nation or a people that calling ourselves British for 1,000 years. So why we good? Because we're British. I mean, this is it. Americans, it's all about what make us special, because, we came here. Why we came here? Because there is something special in this country. What is special? So you're coming to the monument, it's about remembering the great people that make this country great. So it's all about, you need to remember, you need to remind yourself. The Jewish people also have monuments. Not in Israel. In Israel there is no monuments almost. But they have in time, because the Jewish people in place, they didn't have their own place for 2,000 years. So they have it in time. Once a year, one night, they remind themselves what makes them special. Even if it doesn't matter where they're living. What their culture, what their neighborhood is, everything. They needed to remind themselves what makes them special. This night is Pesach night. Okay, so I just saying it to his memory. And what I said it because in this night there is the custom of stealing, and I said because we want the children to stay awake. But why stealing? So there is deeper reason. Yaakov came to his father in Pesach night and stole the blessings. Yes? So now in a deeper level. Why Yaakov needed to steal? This is the way that the Jewish people got their blessings. By stealing. And I will say another thing. We know the story of Purim. Purim, there is a part of the story that Esther, the Queen Esther, going to her husband, King Achashverosh, to beg for the saving of the Jewish people, to invite them to eat, and then... But the law in Shushan, in the city that they were, the law was that if the king not calling you, not allowed to enter the garden of the king. And she said, only if the king will see me and offer me his, how you say, stick of the king. Avraham, I'm not hearing you. You close the oh, now.
No.
Wand.
Stick of the king is stick of the king.
The wand. Yes?
How is it?
Wand. It's like the wand of the... So only if the king offering you his wand. Yes? So then you will stay alive. If he will not offer you, you will die. And Esther telling to her uncle Mordechai, basically the king didn't saw me and didn't call for me for 30 days already. So maybe he had enough. So maybe if I will come, he will not offer me the wand. But he told her, you have no choice. Maybe this is the reason that you're there. So she came to the king with risking her life and trespassing the law. And of course, the king offered her the wand and she was saving the Jewish nation. What day was that Esther came to the king? Pesach night. It was Pesach night that she trespassed the law. It's another thing that happened in Pesach that it's like it's not normal. It's by stealing, by lying. Jewish people have this thing in their history. So the question is why? And the answer is, there is a lot of answers in a lot of levels. I would say, first of all, we need to know, as we said, it's Esav, his way, he deceived his father, Yitzchak. Why? Because he was speaking like Yaakov. Near his father, he spoke like his brother. Yes? So, first of all, we learn from this. We have two sides in us, And there is a story that there was a very famous Rabbi 200 years ago. His name was Rabbi Nachum from Chernobyl. Chernobyl, you heard about it. But it's a famous city, famous Hasidic city. Before, the Chernobyl story.
Right.
And he was a person that he was a famous Rabbi. He was very, very famous, very big. One of the things that you doing to a Rabbi, it's you giving him charity because he's dedicating his life to his people. So he need to live. But every penny that Rabbi Nachum got, he gave. He didn't keep. His family lived very, very poorly. Very. Years passing, and he need to do a wedding to his daughter. And one of the Hasidim was there, and he knew the situation. They have no money to a regular wedding, and I'm not talking about big wedding that all the Hasidim from all over Belarus and Ukraine and Russia will come to the wedding. So he have no money. So one day before, the very, very famous and rich Hasid came to the Rabbi. So one of the Hasidim called him and told him, please do me a favor, do the Rabbi a favor, and do the Hasidim a favor. Go to the Rabbi and give him money and tell the Rabbi, this is for you and your family. This is for you. Don't give it. Okay, he said, of course, it's his pleasure to give the money to the rabbi. So he came, he gave him, this is for the wedding dress, this is for the food, this is for the Sheva Bachot, this is for Shabbat. Please, this is for you, your family, don't give it. The Rebbe said, okay. Of course, 2 minutes after, one other Hasid coming to the Rabbi, crying, I have a wedding, I need money. The Rebbe gave him everything. Okay? So this Hasid that knew the situation, coming to the Rabbi and telling him, why you gave everything to this other person? You also need. Why you gave everything? So the Rabbi told him, you know what? When I got the money, I wanted to keep it because I need the money. But after came the Hasid and he cried, then I was feeling sorry for him and I gave him. And the Rabbi told him, but you need to know, I learned something very special from the situation that happened. What? He said, the Hasid came and started crying, and I wanted to give him everything, of course. I opened the drawer, and I started thinking for myself, why you need to give him everything? So much money. He gave to a big wedding, to the rabbi's wedding. So much money. Don't give him everything. Give to 10 poor people. Give him 10%. Other one will come, give him 10%. And then I said to myself, why am I thinking just now about this amazing idea not to give him everything and to give 10%? Because he wants me to give him 10%. And then another one will come and I give him 5%. And then I will have the money and I will not give tzedakah. And I learned that his way, the other side's way, it's not simple. He's not coming to you and telling you not give him the money. He will not do it because he will tell him, of course I'm giving the money, it's a big mitzvah. So he's telling you, give, of course give, but give to 10 people. Why to give to one? Give to 10%. What does that mean? It means that the other side is smart. He's talking like Yaakov. He's not talking like Esav. And to this guy, you also need to talk in his language. This is in first level that we need to understand. There is times that you need to talk in the other side's language. There is times like that. So that's why Yaakov, to beat Esav, he needed to wear his clothes. I want to mention, by the way, that according to the Jewish law, there is times that you're allowed to lie. Of course, the Torah said, Midvar sheker tirchak. You need to be far from lying. If you close, no, don't be close, be far. But there is times that you're allowed to lie. In what times? Time of peace, in order to make peace, between two people. Things like that. But when you're lying, in order to make peace, try not to lie. What does that mean? If your husband did for you a dish, and he asking you how was the dish, and it was terrible. Of course, you need to say it was good, but you need to say it was very good. But you can think it was very good, maybe to another person. It was very good, not to me. It's terrible for me. Yes. So you need to say, and Rashi here in our Parasha explain how Yaakov saying, Ani Esav Bechorecha. I am. Yitzchak asking, who are you? He said, I. And Esav is your older son. This is a way that you can explain his words. Why? Because he needed to lie. But the law is that when you lie, you need to find the way that it will not be a lie. Why? Because you need to be far from it. You need to feel that you say the truth. So, this is by the way. But this is one level. The one level is sometimes you need to wear the other side's clothes. If the other side starts explaining, the rule in the Hasidic tradition is that if someone asking for you something, and you're thinking, yes, I will do this and that, and then you have another thought coming, why do better idea. The other thought is not from the good side, it's from the bad side. The good side coming first, then the bad side telling you, oh, do a better idea. So to this side, you need to act like Esav. I don't want to hear, I don't want to know. But I want to say a deeper idea, and I cannot explain it until the end because I can't. But the idea, I would say, we learned today a little bit Kabbalah, we will continue with a little bit spirituality. There is a story about the Baal Shem Tov, the very big tzaddik, the founder of philosophy of Hasidut. There is a story that he came to a town, and he said, when he came to a town, I heard that there is here, in his time, in the beginning of 300 years ago, and before that, in Ashkenaz, there was very big, it was very divided, the communities of the smart, of the rabbis, communities of the farmers, the community of this and that. And he said, I heard there is here a synagogue of the thieves. The people that, they so poor, they just stealing. So he said, I want to go to their synagogue to pray. And he came and he prayed and he was very, very happy after. So people asked him, what's going on? So he said, it was in heaven was very bad situation for the Jewish nation. And I needed someone to know to pick up locks. So they know how to pick up the locks, the lock. So what does that mean? It means that sometimes we need to have some special skills. Doesn't mean we need to have some, there is blessings that cannot come straight. It doesn't work. If you put to a computer language that it doesn't have in a system. Today we don't have this, where all the computers have everything. But you put something so it giving you random symbols. You cannot read these blessings. It's not in his language. He's not decoded to read those kinds of words. So we know that God is very, very big, much more than the world. And there is some blessings that cannot come like that. They need to come like that. It's not simple. The world is not a kli, is not a vessel that Yitzchak will love Yaakov and call him and tell him, I love you so much, you are the righteous one, I will give you all the blessings, and this is it. It will not work. it will not work. There is situation that it has the only way that our physical world will work. It will be in opposite day. It will work. This is the only way. And that's why I mentioned that the blessings of Yitzchak is the most big blessing that we have in the Torah. The most amazing blessings. Why and how it's connected? It's everything Kabbalic, it's everything Hasidic connected. That Yitzchak is the way of Yitzchak in life. As I said, the relationship between him and God. It was in some ways it's very much stronger, because the left side, and we talked about Avraham, that is water, its right side, the left side of Yitzchak, of the fire, have very much power. So that's why it can bring to the world very, very big blessings. But it couldn't come straight. And the Pesach night, some communities want to remember how strong is the connection between Jew and God. So that's why we know that we need to do some tricks sometimes, because the connection is above and beyond. The world is not decoded, it's not programmed to see this kind of strong relationship. This is a few ideas. I hope we can go out with something. First of all, we need to go out with the remembrance that Jewish people can change very much, and they do. They're changing. But there is some miracle that they always stay connected to the first father. Avraham, his son Yitzchak, continue him in totally, but he was different. So there is the core, the strong will to connect to God in His way, not in your way. We're connecting to God in His ways, but we adopting it to the world. We adopting it to our abilities, to what change. But the connection is the same connection, and the connection coming from God. And this is Yitzchak and Avraham. We spoke about one Rashi. We can speak about more, but and this is one thing. And the other thing is that the connection between Jews and God sometimes is so high, it's so powerful, and God wants to give blessing to the Jewish people, and the direct way is not working, because the world is not decoded to such big blessings. So thank you very much. I will just close 1 second the video.